All right, I think you guys should be able to hear and see everything on the screen okay. Hey, what's up, Addy? What's up, Brian? What's up, Delta? How are you guys? Let me know if you can hear and see everything okay. You should be able to see Bitcoin at this point in time. I'll wait to hear from you guys to make sure you can see everything before we get started. Had a little bit of internet problems today. Have people coming out to work on the internet this evening, so hopefully all these little problems get resolved. Oh, what's up, Ablix? How are you? All right, so as usual, we will go through Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then we will move into all of your altcoin picks, okay? Let me make a little message here that we can pin for everybody. All right. All right, everybody should be able to see that now moving forward. Nice. All right. Let me get my handy dandy pen out here so we can write some of these down before it gets too far away from us. All right, so let's talk about AERO. What's up, Dave? Let's talk about RUNE. Let's talk about FARTBOY for the win. I hope you're doing well, sir. How are you, Steve? All right. What's up, Six? What's up, Nameless? Man, everybody's in the house today. Thank you guys for smashing up the like button. We got 7 likes so far and 7 people in the house, so it's about 100% hit rate. I got FARTBOY down Apex, and we will get to that very soon. It looks like from Brian, we have Flare and Cookie. And we have AVAX from Addy. That one is going to be a great puzzle. That's going to make me mad, but we'll go through it. What's up, Dr. T? How are you? All right. We got AVAX already for that person. So we're going to do ENS for Addy. Or for 6, I apologize. And SUI. And I've already got Cookie, so I've already got that one down. All right. So I will come back and check the chat. And if more alts come in, just let me know. Sorry, guys, I'm eating nuts while we go through this. So, as always, let's start with our macro scenario, right? Last stream, we talked about this being an A and whether or not the B ended here or we get an expansion up. This could still be on the table, and we'll talk about that when we zoom in, right? But for now, we also should be aware that the B wave could be in here. And we will move this to adjust for targets for now. Delete some of this stuff off our screen. Sorry, guys, I don't come with preloaded charts, but I do come with a latte. So the reason we're on this chart is so that we could understand the macro of what we were looking for, right? So if we were looking for a wave 4 retracement, we placed our retrace fibs. These need to be on linear to keep your targets realistic. You will see when I place my retracement fibs from the low of the orange 2 to the high of the orange 3, we could see our first retracement comes in around $100,211. If Bitcoin were to give a 3-wave motion down now in an ABC, we can see that we have confluence of extensions at the 1 through 1.382, and that's 100,733 all the way down to 94,155. And this would still remain bullish, right? Now, the thing is, the lower Bitcoin goes down, the lower our top prices for this go, right? So do be aware of that. I think that I'm just going to shoot for that back test of 100 grand. if not a drop below it, so that we can get into some of the liquidity left behind here. There's even a CME gap down around 94, I believe, that might also get filled. Let's go take a peek just to make sure we're not chatting shit. Got to be on all charts to see the CME. Let's delete everything so we can see it okay. Let's see if there was a gap here. Let's go to the daily. That's a small gap at 92. I wouldn't like to call that a gap at 97. This same thing, no gap. This is basically closed up price. Actually, have a wick finishing it. So for now, let's be aware of us going into that possible wave 4 like we talked about in an ABC. Let's keep this as the pivot for now. And this is like the most immediately bearish scenario, right? So the reason I side with that being an A is because when we broke down its internal counts, it counted fairly well as a WXY. And that made it more probable that that was an A wave down, right? Gets a little cluttered here. And then from there, you can see nothing has occurred except a very overlapping three-wave motion to the upside. I would hate to try to label this as an impulse. It doesn't count very well as an impulse. Even if you go from low to high, it is very, very difficult to say that this is an impulse, right? You don't have a clean 5 waves within your wave 3. You did get a shallow pullback, but then even the successive move is very choppy and overlapping. To me, it looks more like a corrective motion towards the upside. Now, I'm always open to a B wave that gets a little bit more expanded and rowdy and takes off and gets up higher. But for now, I'm going to go with our possible pivot being in there and looking for a C wave to come down. I think this is the path that the majority of people are going to lean into, right? They're going to lean into an immediate push to the downside in 5 waves. With the most common target being to sweep the lows of the A, right? Meaning that we're looking for a most common area of interest, which is 1 through 1.382 as a C leg. Now, I just think that might be too easy. So what we could look for here is for them to try to chain this together as 3 up and maybe 3 down, and then it gets another leg to the upside. We'll have to wait and see. You know, if this gets some sort of 5-wave motion to the upside, then we could end up having to move our B wave up here and then get a sequential C wave down that still takes out these lows. So something to be aware of, but for now, I'd say the immediate is to the downside. Let's zoom in a little bit here to see if this is going to be a C wave. We should start to at least see some good displacement to the downside, which we're starting to get into now, right? So let's look at this with extensions from 0 to a possible 1 of C to a possible 2 of C. So we haven't quite reached a 1.618 yet on log. Let's turn this on and make sure, because I bet it hit it. Nope, just missed it. So for now, this could be seen as just a 3-wave motion. So let's see what it does to the upside, right? If to the upside, we start to break above the 0.5, around 113,965, and Bitcoin can continue to push up and hit the 0.618 of the range, it makes it more likely that it is going to come up, and this will just be a 3-wave motion down. And in that scenario, I would say that we could be likely extending this B wave higher like we talked about, right? So be open to that. If we start to see Bitcoin get above 114,000 again, then we have to be aware that we're making that move. Now, I wouldn't want to say, oh, this is 1, 2, 1, 2 when it comes up. The reason why is because the secondary 1, 2 would actually be slightly bigger, right? So it's not exactly what we're looking for. All right. All right, let's go back and check the chat. Do you guys have any questions over Bitcoin at all? Okay, Dr. T wants me to look at Woo and Zig. Let's write that down. All right, so I have those two. Let me know if you guys have any questions over Bitcoin and we can review it some more. All right, looking at Ethereum. It's exactly what we talked about in our last stream. When charting Ethereum, I like to be on linear. The reason why is because when we pull extensions from a possible 0 to a possible 1 to a 2, the 3 comes up to around a 1.618. And now it appears that we're making a wave 4 pullback. I placed my retracements from the low of 2 to the high of 3. The initial descent came down in a possible leading diagonal in an A, and then a possible 3-wave motion up in a B. After which we see a small time frame 1, 2, 1, 2. I believe finally moving into wave 3s and 4s and 3s and 4s, and we'll get a final 5th. I think which will result in Ethereum coming down to fill the internal fair value gap between 3,800 to around 3,700. That would be my main area of interest for Ethereum and where I would look to maybe accumulate some more spot as a wave 4. It is hard to say, for sure what that wave 5 target will be until we get a wave 4 low. Now we can try to speculate on this. Let's get this a little bit closer here. By using an extension from 0 to 3 to wherever the wave 4 stops. I'm going to speculate that it comes down a little lower. But I think that gives you a target for the wave 5 on Ethereum to the 0.618, around 6,500. I would look for immediate resistance around 5,200 just in case, to 5,400 because we have a lot of fibs there. But overall, I think the trend is still bullish on these coins. I do not think a top is in for the cycle. I'm not terrified. I'm not dumping everything and running for the hills, right? So I would say Ethereum definitely still has that local bullish scenario to look for that test of the 6,000 range possibly. All right. So let's start moving into altcoins, guys. All right, the first one that you guys wanted to talk about was AERO. Due to local structures, you have to abandon your 1-2 idea. Let's just delete everything while we talk. And because of the way this was built towards the upside, I have to side with this was a possible WXY towards the upside. I'm going to have to side with this being a 3-wave motion in W, and a 3-wave motion in X, and a 3-wave motion in a Y, with this being a local A, B, C, and Y. And a C with a nice strong 5 waves in it. After which we can see that we start rejecting towards the downside. Likely, if this is a WXY, if you are even lucky, then you can talk about, okay, well, the total moves in A and we're waiting on a B, right? But it's going to be a long time until you get to talk about a B wave. You need to consider minimum time from 0 to A in a 382 as your minimum time and correction that you would like to see. And we are nowhere near that, right? So that means that this should be correcting all the way out till mid-October, if not longer. On AERO, this is definitely not something I'm looking to put any money back into. I'm not looking to get involved in this anymore at all. I do not own anymore. I sold it all. The 1-2 stacking is off the table, and you should be moving on and considering different options at this point, in my opinion. All right, let's keep on going. Let me know if you have any questions over AERO. Sorry that my truth sometimes is a little blunt. But why bullshit each other, right? If the chart's not super bullish and it's not looking good, if we're invalidating the things, we should be getting out, right? I was very open with the people in the Discord about this. We talked about this being the start of something to the downside and nothing but a choppy overlapping motion until it reaches here and what I think is another 333 WXY. So I think you have 3 up, 3 down, 3 up, WXY. I think that the move was over there. I sold off all of my AERO in this range on average. So overall in the Discord, I don't know how you guys did, but how I did on my first initial buy was around 140%. So that's a pretty good day. So that's good. All right, it looks like our next altcoin to talk about is RUNE. Let me know if you have any questions over AERO. RUNE is not something that I would tell anybody to go get involved with. I personally think the chart looks like shit, but that's just my opinion, right? Nothing about this chart is bullish. I say that because this is not the bullish start to something. This is likely a 335, right? That looks like shit. It is not something that we're here to chase. Now, if you're wanting to be bullish, you're going to have to say that this is your invalidation for whatever scenario it is that you're currently going for, and that you think that you're chasing a local 5-wave motion here, right? Again, a 3-wave motion to start something is not bullish. So I'm sure this is a chart that somebody somewhere is pushing, or people wouldn't be asking for it. But this is a clean 3-wave motion, never makes an impulsive extension at a 1.618, does not give me high efficacy trades. This really isn't something that I would want to be involved in. So I would just move on from RUNE and find yourself a better chart. That's my opinion. Until it can give you some sort of reversal structures, there's nothing that you can do with a chart like this, right? Even this doesn't reach 1.618 by here until up to here. So even this can be considered a 3-wave motion, right? It's not a heavy hitter. I would just move on from that. That's my opinion. Oh, what's up, Jody? Jody Aspen. Prime token. Is that the ticker for it? Is Prime? Is this like Jake Paul's energy drink Prime? Or what is it? Yeah, later, Dr. T. I hope it's helpful, man. Nameless said in the chats here, so there could be new all-time high for Bitcoin before the 100K target. Yes, but that, sir, is in an expanded scenario, right? So that's something to keep in mind. So if Bitcoin gets a new all-time high in this scenario now, it would still count, right? It still counts as a new all-time high, but because of it being made in some sort of 3-wave motion, we can only side with a B wave, right? So that's a good thing, though. The reason why is because it makes probability then that this is, like I already labeled it, excuse me, that this is an A, B, C versus a 1 into a 2, right? As soon as a B wave expands past the highs, it can no longer be a 2, right? So yes, Bitcoin could get a new all-time high before going deeper. Now, if it does go up and makes that expanded high, let's talk really quickly about the most common area of interest. Polar retracement from the high to the low. Turn on our expanded B wave template that I could teach you in the Discord, and aim for the 1.236 through 1.382 as the most common, but sometimes we do see those rejections around the 105. So that gives you about a 125 to a 131 range before it would really take another deep cut. Okay, so let's say it does stop at the 105. That gives your C wave targets at least to take the lows of A, right, is the most common due to an expansion. So down to 104, if not 98K at the 1.618. Let me know if you have any more questions over that, Nameless. And I also covered for you, sir, where Ethereum could go after. And that is a wave 5 target to around 6 grand. But we'll start looking for immediate resistances around 52 to 5400. So I'm looking to accumulate spot Ethereum anywhere between 3800 down to 3700. And if I got so lucky to get a 35, I would take it, because then I'm looking for upwards of mid 5K to 6K range on Ethereum. So let me know if you have any more questions. As always, the questions are why we're here, guys. If people don't like my stream because it stops and starts a lot and we talk about all kinds of things, go watch someone else's stream. Doesn't bother me one bit. The people that are here to get educated. They love this type of content. And the results in your trading will be phenomenal also by investing your time in your own education. So, all right, looks like the next chart is the heavy hitter you were all waiting for. This is FARTBOY. All right, so let's go back to log. Let's talk about what we've talked about a million times, right? This motion started in a 3-wave motion, right? Making it probable to be either an A or a W, like I've labeled, or an X or a B, then looking for a wave C and 5 waves to the upside, or just a 3-wave Y. The most common area of resistance of a wave Y is 1 through 1.236. We shared this in every single live stream. I shared it on Twitter. I shared it in the Discord when I pretty much thought this was over and no longer owned any more FARTBOY. The reason why is because due to this retracement that it was making, it was looking damn near dead set to hit the 0.618 retracement, which is taken from the low of this local pivot being a wave 2 within a C wave, right? Now you can also say, okay, well, I'll move it down here. Well, as soon as this price action in a local 4 overlaps into the top of a wave 1, it then only has the possibility of being an ending diagonal, right? So can this still happen? Sure. Maybe it could still pull this off. But the thing to consider is that you've already started to validate the bearish paths, meaning validation of the WXY and the local top, because of the retracement that it made, hitting a local 618 of that range, okay? So for now, if it gives you one more to the upside, you will be very lucky. It is not the best thing to try to hold when things start to invalidate plans, right? Now, this can still be an ending diagonal. I want you to be aware of that. That would invalidate the Y leg if FARTBOY can break the 1.236 at 0.05727. The reason I say it can still be an ending diagonal is because this local wave 2, which starts at these highs and goes down, let's label that so you can see, because there should be 5 waves within a C leg, right? And it can be made in an ending diagonal, or it can be made in a regular standard impulse. So if this, let's say, is wave 4, well, when I put a trend-based time extension here, trend-based fib time, from the high of 1 to the low of 2, and I replicate that time over it from wave 3 to see how wave 4 compares with the wave 2 in time, you can see that the wave 4 has not reached a 1-to-1 in time yet, meaning that it is smaller than the wave 2. In the end, what that means is that if it's a diagonal, at least what we can say is that it could be a contracting ending diagonal. Here's the problem with an ending diagonal and why this is invalid. An ending diagonal can only be made in one fashion. It's all 3-wave motions, right? And a 3-wave pullback. This isn't to scale, obviously, and a 3-wave motion, and a 3-wave pullback, and a 3-wave motion. When we look over here, what do you see within your wave 1? And anyone who's been following my page for a little bit will be able to tell you what that is. Because we traded this. This is 5 waves within wave 1. That means an ending diagonal is highly unlikely due to probability and invalidation of the way structures are built, right? So unfortunately, this is my primary count until proven otherwise. Now, you could chain some sort of correction together here, but nonetheless, a WXY to the upside is going to be my primary count. Okay? Let me know if you have any other questions over FARTBOY. I'd love to answer them. But for now, this is where we're at. I cannot give you a C wave. I cannot say this is going to happen. I have to stay focused on the potential of a WXY for now. Okay? Here's another big take home I want you to see. This ends on high volume. It's likely the end of a correction, meaning this is an A, B, C within Y, and an A, B, C within W. This was a flat style correction because it came down to the 90% retracement of the local A wave. This is a zigzag style correction. You got alternation between W and Y. This gave us everything that we need to say probability wise, this could very well be over for FARTBOY. So just be aware of that. Again, if it breaks out past 0.5727, you could have more on the table. But for now, that's what we got, okay? And that's what's in front of us. In front of us. In front of us. I got fart on the mind. All right, let's go look at Flare. Let me take a sip of coffee here. I'm starting to lose my vibe. All right. So this was our last target box, the 1 through 1.382. So far, we're up on average 20-something%. Overall, we were up 26, but we've had a little bit of a pullbacks here, so we're around 18% up still. I'm still holding my Flare. The reason why is because I'm watching it for these patterns. I'm watching it for the narrative that's behind this token. One of two things is going to happen. If you start to lose these pivots, in my opinion, your higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. If we start to lose that structure, we're going to have to see this as a break of structure and the possibility this could come down. With this remaining outside of the deceleration channel for now, I want to stay bullish with the mindset that we could reach our next target around the 84% to the upside at the 1 line, if not higher to the 1.382. Overall, we've talked a couple times about this and why this is one of two things that could happen. Let's go to 3 days so we can see it. There was a very clean, clear 5-wave motion here that I cannot say is the start of something. So I have to, or the end of something. So I have to say it could be the start of a motion. After which it takes the lows, right? So if this is an A, unfortunately, this made an expanded B wave, right? So then you would be playing for what could be a C wave to the upside. And your only hope right now is this is 1, 2, 1, 2 within C. And at some point you get 3, 4, 3, 4, and 5. This is a high risk play. This isn't the best thing that you could be after, right? Yes, I am doing it. It doesn't mean it'll work out for me, so be aware of that. I'm playing this mainly based as an ecosystem, like tokenomics kind of thing, because the Flare network and XRP are so highly integrated and dependent on each other that I do think that with the use case of what we have going on with XRP and the United States government, the ISO 222, the Flare network going into use soon, I do think this is a play not to be overlooked just in case. I'm not putting all my eggs in this basket, right? I'm just going to see what happens. But for now, what I'm focused on is the beginning of a 5-wave motion and looking to see, do we get its partner leg? most common thing to do would be to take its highs, right? So for now, I'm watching and waiting for that. But as soon as we lose our 3-day bull control zone, the 50 EMA and the 50 RSI on the 3-day, that comes in around 0.2112. Then we'll start to get a little concerned, but for now, I'm still just holding strong on that one. All right, let me know if you have any questions over Flare. Yeah, Prime. Went from 30 to $1.75. That sounds like a discount I don't want to be part of. All right, let's go look at Cookie as the next thing. On the macro, I'm still just fine here. We've talked numerous times about how that could have gotten another low, right? That's why my alarm is here. I don't know if you guys can even see my alarms, but that's what we were aware of and waiting for. I don't know why that won't delete. Oh well. What we were focused on here is the potential 5-wave motion up and waiting for a partner leg, right? So obviously the 0 point is going to be your hard invalidation for this. We're going to put a 4 there. Right? So if you even come to that, you know this play is invalid. So let's get this up here as hard invalidation. And the other thing that you consider is where the probability shift point is, and that's if the 786 is lost, right? So I still have my high risk bag of this. I'm still holding on to it. But if we begin to lose the 786 at 0.10045 and come down and hit the 888, it is highly likely that this 5-wave motion will be invalidated and you will expand past and go into the 1.236 through 1.382 retracement support. Maybe not the best cut that you want to sit through, but it could happen. So right now it's basically going to invalidate this as a local low and give that next push down. You start getting acceptance in this internal fair value gap and closures, it's going to make it more probable to take the lows. So just be aware of that. All right. We've already covered the macro for Cookie and the move that could ensue if we don't lose invalidation, and it was around a 420% move, I think, 407. So we're still on board for that as long as we don't lose invalidation. But with a very corrective, convoluted motion towards the downside, it looks quite bearish at the moment. So keep that in mind. All right, let's move on to what's next. That is AVAX. Now, AVAX has a macro chart that can get me excited, right? But let me let my dog in the office. He's decided he needs to be in here. Come on, let's go. B, come on, baby. Get in here. B, come on. Gotta let the dog in so it doesn't make silly noises at the door the whole time. All right, so the reason why I'm still bullish on AVAX is this move from the beginning is a possible 5-wave motion with 5 waves within the wave 3, also containing the largest volume and oscillation, right? So that makes it a possible valid 5-wave motion. Because of that, and the fact that this is a pretty decent 3-wave motion down and a 3-wave motion up, I'm still siding with, at some point, this gets more to the upside, which would take out these highs, right? And give this leg a partner leg. Does that make sense? So at some point, we're looking for this. Now, let's go to linear. I think that the macro chart on AVAX is still fine. I'm not concerned as a spot holder. I'm not in this with leverage, so I'm not making dumbass choices. That's perfect. So what you're looking for as a partner leg is a 1 through 1.382, meaning at least taking the previous highs. So $71 through $93. I really like this rolling up, rounding up shape of AVAX. Locally, this is a very hard thing to count you would be hard pressed to come in here and be able to label this as 1, 2, and a 1 into 2, and again a 1 into 2. But maybe that's what we end up having to go with in the end. But again, I'm not going to go to the super low time frames and get into those right now. It would take up too much of the stream. But I would say overall, the macro is still bullish, right? You start to lose your 3-day bull control zone, again, around 24.76, and the RSI value of 50, then you'll have to say, okay, we've lost it. You know, it's not going to get that partner leg. We were wrong. All right. So let's go look at ENS. Man. So to make this bullish, you have to lean into what would be a really rare scenario. So it's not my favorite. But that would mean... Sorry, I'm going to blow my nose here. We have horrible allergies right now. Let's delete everything so we can see this. If you were to be looking for this to make some sort of 5-wave motion to the upside, right? Likely this looks like a 5-wave motion. But I would say it's not clean, right? There's a lot of overlap in this midsection here. There's a lot of really shitty price action about it too. And then you get a strong 3-wave motion down and what looks like a 3-wave motion up, but we'll prove it with math really quickly. Again, this is not maybe one that I would be really wanting to chase very hard. Again, this looks like a 3-wave motion up. It only made 1.618 by that point in time. And again, it looks like a 3-wave motion down and a 3-wave motion up. It never looks like it really gets impulsive. My main concern would be that this is all corrective to the upside, right? So 3 up, and wherever this 3 down ends, and 3 up again. But I really wouldn't want to call this some sort of, oh, well, this is A, and this is all B and C. I think that would just be super low probability. Number one, it's a running flat. Number two, it's the world's biggest B wave compared to this really tiny A. It doesn't look super hot. Let's go to the daily, because I think this is what gets most people excited, is when they look at this portion here, right? But the problem is what? If this is 5 up and this is a correction and this is 5 up, this correction's even bigger than the previous one, making it highly unlikely that it's 1 2 1 2 stacking, and more probable that it is just a 3-wave motion towards the upside. Now, the only thing that keeps it possible is 1 2 stacking is that you did not hit this 1 to 1, right? This having 5 waves in it and another possible 5-wave motion in here does put me off a little bit, as it could be an ABC towards the upside. The other thing that we should notice is the hidden bear divergence. Look how high up the RSI is, way up here. Price action didn't make those new highs. So because of that, I do want to side with it just being a 3-wave motion for now. Let's put a base channel on it. You're outside of the base channel. That's not good. You lost your midline, reacted to it as resistance, lost the base channel. If this confirms it more so as resistance, maybe it's a good short to take out all the external liquidity at the lows. But overall, I think that's what you have to kind of side with, is that macro bearish chart. So, all right, let's go look at SUI. I still hold SUI. I'm not running for the hills just yet. As shown, this is that pivot. If you were wanting this to be 5 waves up and a pullback, and you were wanting this to be 5 waves up and a pullback, right? Then again, you'd want a successive 5 waves up and a pullback. Now, if you start to lose this pivot or this higher low in this sequence of higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, right? We start to lose the steps the bulls are making up the stairs. Then yes, you will have to admit defeat. That comes in around $3.10. But for right now, I think SUI is still geared up for the upside. So that is what I'm looking for, is this leg, as always we talk about in every stream, is to get a partner leg for that leg, right? So until that happens, or invalidation happens, I'm sticking with that as my primary route right now. All right, so that's SUI. Let me know if you have any questions. And then someone said woo. This isn't something that I often get to look at or even hear about. Well, this looks like good old-fashioned bag of ass. So we're just here accumulating in this box, this area, this bullshit area. This is not something that I'd want to be part of. Fuck this chart. You can have that. Yeah, woo is not something that I would want to be buying into. All right. Sorry for blowing my nose so much, guys. Let's move on and leave woo in the past until it gives us some sort of reversal. Oh, we're not worried about it. Zig was the next thing we had. Oh, fucking ugly chart day, huh? Let's see if we can find a better chart. Which one? So they all look like shit, apparently. Let me know. What's up, Jamie? Let me know if there's a better chart for Zig. But from my eyes, this is not something that I like at all. It's very hard to kind of count this out. And then it doesn't ever really give a really clear wave for. My concern or hope would be that this is wave 4 with the really deep RSI. And I would have to say that this is somehow 1 through 2 to make that plausible. So your wave 4, you're getting decent reactions at your 0.236. You will invalidate it if you start to lose the 0.5 in this prior degree possible wave 4 area of consolidations. I really like your hidden bull divergence here on the RSI. For now, it's very, very hard to say for sure the low is in, right? So you can try to say yes it is, and you can try to shoot for a 0.5 here. This is crazy ass target. That doesn't even pop fucking highs. Well, let's stay on log even though it's ridiculous for now. I'm also going to include the 382 just in case, because that seems like a hell of a journey for this thing to take now. So I would look for my immediate wave 5 to come in somewhere around not 0.2462. So let's get invalidation on the screen here. I think you would have to go with current invalidation here just to kind of mitigate your risk. But overall, right, losing that 0.5 is what's going to start to invalidate this. But true invalidation comes at 2 points. One is the probable invalidation that occurs if the 618 is hit. This is super far away for someone that wants to buy this. Like the risk to reward would be absolute dog shit here. That's the biggest issue that you're running into, right? So if you're buying this now, you're telling yourself, well, it's not invalid till fucking down here. It's 73% so that I can try to make 160. So not a great trade setup, right? So I wouldn't try to slide this up and say that's what has to happen just so that you can get a better risk to reward ratio. I think that somebody would have to tell themselves, if I start to lose my local 3-wave up low, then I'm toasted, right? And even then, I'm only shooting for, you know, the 382, so I'm going for a 4R trade setup. Am I willing to lose 40% if I buy in today? Because of this being a 3-wave start, this what's the right word here? Evokes or starts off the possibility of making an ending diagonal, right? Like we talked about, it needs to be in all 3-wave motions. I wouldn't want to take a play on a coin like that until I got to wave 4 of the ending diagonal for an entry. That way I have at least an area where I can say, boom, that's invalidation. I'm doing X, Y, and Z. Okay? That's my opinion over ZIG for now. The next chart that folks had was called Prime. Is it Echelon Prime, my dude? If you are still here. Let's see. Jody, are you still here, my dude? Again, these are kind of charts that I'm not really wanting to be part of. So far, you have a decent 3-wave motion to the downside, but it's rolling. It's going to take this liquidity in time is my best bet. You're saying a different prime. I got Prime USDT on BitGet. Can you tell me which exchange you would like it from, Jody? So I can make sure to give you the most accurate analysis, because all I'm finding is all the different echelon primes. So if you could let me know what exchange you would like it for. I've got Prime on Femex, but that looks like the exact same chart. So far, all the primes are looking pretty much the same. We'll try Prime on USDT, Bybit, same exact chart. Yes, sir, I did go to Coinbase. So when I go to Prime on Coinbase, it is Echelon Prime. It is the same coin. There is no Prime on Coinbase. The only Prime, which is the ticker, is Echelon Prime on Coinbase. And again, something here that you should always be paying attention to is you've made an 888 retracement from the low to the high, right? So you've turned probability to taking the lows, right? So the most probable thing to have happen here is to actually lose the 888 and take it and make new lows, right? So a lot of times what we'll see in instances like this is to bait you. You'll get a small retracement like this, boom, boom, boom. Comes up to around $4, and then it will go bop all the way down into here, okay? Yeah, it went from 40 down to 1.6 because it's a piece of shit. It's not because it did amazing, right? This is not something that I would want to be involved in whatsoever. So, all right, let's keep on rolling. PENGU. Depending on how you look at this PENGU chart, you can be bullish or bearish, right? Let's go to linear so you can be a bull for a moment in this time. But pretty soon you're going to invalidate your bullish scenario, so it won't fucking matter anyways. All right, so what you were hoping for was an expanded B wave into a C wave, which is basically what we're getting, right? Make sure you pull this out to the side. We're looking at a 786, 888 retracement so far. Now, if you are wanting to be a bull on this, you need to stay on linear. If you are not on linear, we'll talk about it in a moment, but that becomes an ABC. Now, if I want to be a bull, I'm going to stay on linear, 1 into 2, 5 waves within a wave 3, and then a long convoluted wave 4, 5 waves in wave 1 of 5, wave 2 of 5, and going up for a wave 5 of 5 in time. Right, so in my opinion, if you're on linear, PENGU is still bullish. I shared the invalidation here in the Discord, guys, so you should already have this if you are a member there. You shouldn't be missing anything. You should know exactly what's going on. So that would give you a wave 5 to around 0.053, excuse me, 0.053,592. Okay? Now we can, if this is possible, we can run a possible invalidation here at the lows of that scenario, and that comes in around 0.027422. So if you're running a risk to reward on this and you're looking for a 5-wave motion, you go from low to the high of the 5-waver to the low of our swing. We're going to switch to our impulsive extensions, and we're going to look for 5 waves to the upside here, right? Let's just lay this out really quickly. This actually could play out really beautifully, right? So this would be wave 1 with 5 waves within it, wave 2 of an expanded flat and an ABC for PENGU with easy invalidation on the lows, right? Because wave 2 can't take the inception point or 0 point. Then we would see from here, most fucking Ricky tick, an explosive movement up to around 0.046370 before a small pullback and a final push to around 0.053592. All right, so let's see what happens, but that would be my immediate path for PENGU, friend. All right, the next coin that I had someone ask about looked like ADA. All right, so I am still short biased on ADA for now. We were still looking for around 71 cents to 62 cents. We have an internal fair value gap back here. We have a 3-swing extension on the local scenario, and we're looking for this 5-wave motion to the downside. I told you in the last stream, I said, get ready. I said, every asshole is going to tell you, this is an inverse head and shoulders, and it's going to break out. But instead it broke down, right? These patterns are dog shit. The other funny thing that all your friends from the internet were telling you was this was your local 3. They were telling you this was your 4 and this was your 5. They were telling you that this is an ABC. So this is another scenario the internet is looking at right now, right? So what does that mean for you? Well, for that scenario, you have hard invalidation for anyone that's posting it right there at 78 cents, right? So if you lose 78 cents, then you have to admit, you know, the bears got the wheel and that we're going for the deeper scenario. But if you, that's also a running flat, 3 down, 3 up, 5 down. Doesn't take the lows of A. It's very rare, so I don't want to count on it yet. Right now, if I get proven wrong, great, I'll admit it when we get there. But for now, I'm going to stick with this being a possible 1 through 5 motion, even though the wave 2 to 4 ratio is absolutely atrocious. It is still plausible. This plan will be fully enacted when the lows are lost around 78 cents. And then we will full on start to see it happen, right? Even this gateway drug getting lost around 80 cents is kind of starting to put the nails in the coffin and close the doors for it. Hard invalidation for this scenario is going to come way down here at 50 cents. The reason why we're interested in this is because of the original move making around 100% motion. That's good enough for me, right? So I'm looking for a partner leg of at least 100% to mimic this to the upside. So I think that ADA will be a good play. And what we're looking for here is a very easy, clean, clear setup. We're looking for a 5-wave pullback on ADA to come to around 71 cents, if not 62 cents, fill the internal fair value gap, while at the same time coming to the golden pocket retracements and hopefully not losing the 786 retracement support around 0.6192. Okay. All right. That is ADA. Does anybody have any other altcoins they want us to cover today? If not, let's move into the pile of shit coins that is the internet really quick. Because I have not looked at these in a long time. since last week. Essentially, this is what we were warning about on Roar, right? We were talking about it. Was a three-wave motion up before a possible motion down, right? For now, I would stay just watching this one, right? The only bonus you have is a three-wave motion down, making it highly probable that at some point those highs will be taken, right? Now, the upside here, let's check this high, is not 0.1446 and not 0.15, so it's actually higher. You never made a new high yet, but at some point the most probable thing to happen would be to take those highs, right? So I would stay tuned in and watching Roar just in case. I would say that the most probable thing for this to do would be continue to give some more downside, though, to get even maybe back into this internal fair value gap. But let's see if you stop by this 1.382. All right, let's go look at some more stuff while we wait to see if you guys have any other altcoins. For me, this would be very hard for me to continue to chase. You really don't want to see Bonk Boy lose the invalidation that we talked about previously and a possible Y low. For now, that's what I would have to stay biased on. That comes in around not million zeros 1488. Let me go see if you guys have anything else here. Oh, I see that someone said Doge. Yeah, let's get that in. Doggo Parma. Nice to meet you. First time I think I've seen you in our live streams. If you need anything, let me know. I'll write down your altcoin there. It looks like MYX. That's not something I often look at. Is this a DEX screen coin or... no, I didn't do XRP, but I will for you, my friend. Doggo Parma. Is MYX something that I can handle on a regular exchange? Let's see here. USDT pair. MYX Finance, I'm guessing, is what it is. Well, this did fucking everything you wanted it to, didn't it? So this looks like a potential 5-wave motion to the upside that may have completed. Let's get rid of this. Now you may get one more high in the 5, sir. All exchanges have it. Yep. Nice, dude. Oh, I'm happy you came by. Thanks for stopping by. So we've been tracking this one for a little bit. You can see we have a base channel going from 0 to 1 to 2. And what I believe, again, is another 1 into 2. If not, unfortunately, another 1 into 2. So this could get some really strong 3-4, 3-4 stacking, which is what we're envisioning here as the upside. But for now, to keep ourselves level-headed, let's go from 0 to a possible high of a 3 to a potential low of a 4. Let's turn on our Wave 5 current extensions. We usually see resistance around a 618 as the most usual area, then a 786 and moving upward. Now an extended 5th wave can go as high as 1.618. But oftentimes, you know, we don't see that. We usually see them kind of stopping somewhere in here as an extended, if not at the 1-to-1. Now, when I talk about extensions to the upside, sometimes you can see how this is quite lavish, right? We're saying we're going to go from $9 to $50 on this last push. It's not so great. This maybe is a little lavish, right? So a lot of times when I try to talk about a 5th wave, you can see how this gets way out of proportion now. We're going to have to stay on linear for this chart. I do like that the RSI is resetting really well, trying to get a hidden bull reset back even with this old wave 4. Let's go into a lower time frame to see the possibility here of getting another move in the 5. So this motion here starts with a what to the downside, right? A 3-wave motion. So because this starts with a three-wave motion, it does give pop probability to come take these highs, especially after a retracement that comes up to around 90%. So I would have to side with this being an A, a B, and a C for now, right? Now let's go check this with math to see if it's close to being done or not. And then we'll check divergences on RSI and volume. So we are around the 1. But with it getting a little butt closure under it, I think of that maybe you could come down to 1.236 to 1.382. That'd be $7.77, if not $6.97 to lose that $7 range and really scare the shit out of people. Now, the hard part is if this is a wave 2, this is a quite lavish wave 4. Let me check this. Yeah, we'll say, to keep this safe, we're going to say this is a wave 2. So you have a better ratio in time. And we're going to say that this is a wave 4. All right. So your retracement here supports line up well. You got a reaction at the 0.236. Now you're pushing through it. Let's see if you lose that $7 range and give a push down to $6.30 to really scare people. If not a wick, you know, down to $5.91. At no point do the bulls really want to see $4.39 lost. If it is, it's likely at that point that you're wrong. Okay. The other thing that we can try to do sometimes is put a base channel on a correction from the high to the low and see, are we holding on to that, right? So right now you're trying to hold on to it. We don't have a local regular bull divergence here on the 8-hour. You do have a hidden bull divergence on the RSI, meaning a lower low on the RSI, but not on price action. So maybe you get that one more high, but I would say you might peek out of this channel first. So be aware of that. But it does look slated for another high, or at least to take out these highs left behind and push up like we talked about to previous targets. Doggo Parma, let me know if you have any other questions, my friend. I'll timestamp that. I'll get that in the live stream stuff for you. We covered AERO, Jamie. I'm all sold out of it. Not necessarily do we know for sure what's going to happen with this one, but as we were shown earlier, or what I'm looking for, is the possibility of this just being a W, an X, and a Y towards the upside within A, and this being an A, B, C within that final leg of Y. That means we're looking for a minimum time correction around middle of October before we can even start sizing this up as probable supports. The 1 2 1 2 stacking is off the table at this point because this is not a 1 2 3 and this is all a 4 somehow. It would make no sense. It's starting to get ugly. So for now, I'm not going to side with that until it proves me another way. Yeah? Oh, yeah, dude. Thanks, man. Yeah, thank you. Follow me live. We also have the Discord where we all talk in there. Come hit it up. There's a free week trial in my bio on Twitter. And I always share it in here and put it in the comments. But yeah, come on by, hang out, dude. The leverage is what they're cleaning out right now, right? So they're hunting leverage, and when the purge is done, then we'll go up again. All right, let's go look at virtual for Dave, dude. Thanks for hanging out, Dave. And if we got any new people here, man, make sure to smash the like button. And thanks for coming by, guys. Thanks for making your time. I know you all have very busy lives. I try to timestamp everything for you guys, so it's easier for you to find when you're busy. All right, so when we look at virtual, what gets me excited about it is the potential of what you see here, a 5-wave motion within a possible A wave, right? We don't know if it's an A or 1 yet. And then when we pop time on this from the low to the high, we can see that our correction is in past when? Past the 2 in time, right? Because it's in past the 2 in time, it makes it higher probability to be a B wave than a 2. So for now, I'm going to stick with this being an A into a B. And I'm also going to move my invalidation for my probable scenario because of local price action to the lows of this, okay? Now, we talked about in our last stream how we could have gotten expanded B, but we didn't, right? Instead, you got a direct cut. So let's go over here and look at the 8-hour and zoom in a little bit. If this was a 5-wave motion towards the upside and you have an A, a 3-wave motion up, and a B, and then a successive C wave, this son of a bitch is getting a little long in the tooth, so be careful. If it begins to lose the 1.618, you will have to be concerned that this is over, because you would likely take out the low of around $1 and you would invalidate that as a 5-wave motion towards the upside. Let's put our extensions on here just to triple check this really quickly. So yes, the wave 3 does make 1.618 minimum, so we're good there. So in my opinion, right, I can't give financial advice, but in my opinion, maybe while everybody's scared, this is your opportunity. I can't guarantee that you don't lose these lows, but with a risk to reward being so close to each other, sometimes it could be worth it, right? So we're looking for a 1 through 1.382. So as a 1 line around 146, that's a 35% move on a 7% risk on spot. That's not horrible. Now, if we're talking about our macro scenario, obviously this could get much larger. The upside could be much larger. We've talked about this numerous times before. I think that you need to be on linear for this. And I think that, you know, that's how you get the C wave that comes to the 1 around $3, if not the 1.382 around $3.86. I'm going to stick to linear when I chart this for now. Now, if we can start to build a pivot here and start to come up, I can get a base channel on this move and get us some mid-range resistances, and really some really good high probability plays could come from virtual moving forward. So this is really one to have on your docket, because even out of here, that macro minimum's around a 2x. So something to be aware of is that virtuals can push past our local long, and it can somehow go to nearly 178% to 250%. So something to be aware of. All right, now you want me to go look at SOLIDUS. I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. What is its ticker? I'll try to find it really quickly, but just let me know. SOLIDUS AI Tech USDT. All right, so we're still here, still pissing around. If you're lucky, you know, you have a 3-wave A, and then now you're making a very convoluted correction in a B wave. Again, if you're lucky, you don't lose this low here around 0.02751, and then you can start to talk about C waves. For now, I think that because you're on these high time frames and you're looking for high time frame reactions, that you should stay on linear. That could take this, you know, up to 0.08465 to 0.10631 as a C wave. The reason I side with a C wave is because this time in correction is 2 times longer at least compared to the run up. Also, the run up is very hideous. It's not a very pretty 5-wave motion. We would have to say this is wave 1 into 2, 3, 4, and an extended 5th. Even then, that's 5 waves in an A due to the downtrend lasting that long. All right. Is there anything else, guys? Any other altcoins or anything that you have in mind? So far, that's everything on the list. Oh, XRP. Let me do XRP really quickly, and then we'll move forward. XRP is a high risk scenario, right? We're going for the wave 5 of the wave 5 here. The reason I say that's high risk is because at any point you could be wrong, and this could piss down its thighs and take you out. Now the reason we're siding with this being a 3 is because we pulled from 0 to 1 to 2. Let me get a little closer so no one peeves me in the comments about this. We hit a 1.618, then we make a deep pullback. We have yet to make overlap with the highs of wave 1, so we have not invalidated it as a wave 4. Now, that means that XRP needs to hold these lows immediately. I'm very open to somehow, some way, this being a very convoluted, very, very long corrective triangle, or maybe even a WXY. But for now, I'm sticking with it being corrective and looking for a wave 5 to the upside of around $3.96 as my first target. And as always, we've talked numerous times about how extended fifth waves can go up higher. But again, we've talked about how if at any point, XRP's breaking $5.55, $5.53, we have to be aware that we're moving into a much larger, much stronger motion towards the upside, okay? But for now, I'm still biased that we're going to break the $4 range here on XRP. All right, guys, that's everything that I have for the day. We've covered tons of altcoins. We covered Bitcoin and Ethereum in the beginning of the stream. I'll make sure to get all that stuff time-stamped for you guys so that you can view it whenever you would like. And as always, if you need anything else, hit me up in the Discord. We've been going for about an hour and a half at this point. And I will answer any questions that you have at that point in time. Really quickly for you, Dog Oparma, I will do this. Let's check Aster really quickly. This looks like a bag of ass. I would not want to try to play this because we have no clear displacement in here to be able to say for sure this is a nice 5-wave motion towards the upside to give yourself probable points. This would be something that I would have to wait to see a local reversal on first, right? This might start to make a stronger leg down would be my concern. That one wouldn't be one that I would want to chase because even here locally you can see this is just a 3-wave motion. It's not an impulse, and then you already get overlap, right? So it kind of rules it off for me. Not something I would want to be part of right now. And then the other one you said was AVNT. Oops. Advantis. Alright. This is kind of looking somewhat similar. You can see, I'm guessing here, let's turn this on, I'm guessing there was a divergence, yeah. You can see there's a great divergence here as it ran into the highs, right? Even had this hideous, fucked up Frankenstein on here. So, this type of things, when this starts to happen, is looking for a deeper correction. I like that they made a 3-wave high that ends on high volume. That means that likely this motion towards the upside was corrective, right? That's why there was a divergence and an end on high volume. Let's try to look at the actual. This is a hideous chart. If I had to be stuck with something. Very curious. Sorry, this takes some time. That's one thing that it has going for it, is that it made a 3-wave high, meaning it's likely to take that high at some point, especially with this being a 1-to-1 3-wave motion that also came into 1.236 to 1.382. which would then mean this has to be the start of something to the downside and a correction, and now this should be the end of it. Fuck off. This could be something, huh? You could be something onto something. I don't like this overlap, though. Price action here. Maybe it's just a shit chart. This would have to be the end. I think if you could somehow, some way hold $1.85, you could have a lot more in store for yourself here. Overall, though, it's not the prettiest chart. The issue is we're having to say that this is a wave 1 into a wave 2, wave 3. Fuck. This is hideous. I'm gonna have to say it ends here to give you any sort of this could even end all the way over here as a 4. I don't know what this does. I really would be trying to talk shit here. It's okay. It would be worth a high risk swing, right? Because you don't want to lose $1.83. You would have to ask yourself what's risk to reward, right? If I enter here, or if I wait just a little bit longer and get a little bit lower of an entry, I don't know. That's up to you. But invalidation comes in at the recent low, and here comes the kicker of the scenario. If this leg up were to have had made a 150% motion, we're looking for another 150% motion. Does that make sense? So let's delete everything so that you can see it clearly. Man, this whole fucking chart just keeps going up and up and up and up and up. This is why I missed it. Sorry, dude. Let's look at this portion here. So that could have been 5 waves in the wave 5 that's done. Is the bad thing. This could be 5 waves within wave 3. So this could get a much deeper retracement would be my major concern. 3, 4. This is kind of 3 waves up and 3 waves down. That's hard to say that it could also end over here. And then that could be the 5 waves up and 5. I wouldn't want to buy it. That's my thing, man. It's got a momentum divergence, right? So you have your largest volume and largest oscillation come in within your wave 3 of your wave 3, meaning the 5 waves of the wave 3. After that, you get a divergence on the volume and a divergence on the RSI going from wave 3 of 3 to wave 5 of 3. And then again, you get a further created divergence on volume and RSI going from wave 3 of tops to wave 5 tops, right? So even if this is lucky and it tried to make one more little poof to the upside, my concern is that the biggest cut that's coming for this project is to the downside, right? The biggest cut that could come for this, I'm just going to go to the highs just for now, is, looking for that golden pocket, is looking for this to be wave 5 of 5 in and coming back to test all of this imbalance left behind in the chart, right? All of this area. So the golden pocket, the most probable area to come to. With the divergences on volume and RSI, that's what I have to go with, man. I hope that was helpful. All right. Don't usually stay on after I say I got to go, but I hope that was helpful. I always like giving you guys the most value that you can get. I like trying to help out people as much as I can, and I really enjoy doing this. So If you guys need anything, do reach out. And as always, the easiest way to contact me is Twitter, or come on into the Discord. There's a free week trial. Come on in, see us, hang out, go to our live streams. We do at least 3 live streams a week in there, if not more, and have 5 analysts working in there to get all your requests and questions answered at all times. We cover everything from Forex to metals and indices and options. We have a dedicated person handling all the indices all the time. We have our own indicators in the community. So come on by, check everything out. And if you have any other questions, hit me up. Thank you, everybody, for your time today, and I'll see you guys later. Bye, everybody.